All right, everybody, welcome back. Good late morning. We've got more running backs to take a look at here, and now we're on to the second round. And I'll tell you, this second round, at least in terms of current projections that change all the time, pretty simple. There are two running backs projected to go in the first round, and they both play in the same backfield, or they did until the season ended a couple months ago. But you got two guys. They're both Buckeyes. They're both running backs. They're both projected to be somewhere in the second round. So let's talk it through. Starting with TreVeyon Henderson, 22 years old, 5'10, 202 pounds. So he's a little bit lean, a little bit tall, a little bit atypical, I guess. Good speed, real good speed, good acceleration, very explosive. Has those traits you're looking for in an upper level running back prospect. Big boards. ESPN has him in the first. We got some second rounds. We got some third rounds. The aggregate has him in the mid second. And you might look at his production over the last 2 years and not be that crazy impressed. He has 300 combined carries over the last two seasons, and that's with Ohio State playing extra games because they were the national champions last year. And also 46 catches. That's not a lot. Just to give you an idea, Jean T had more than that in one season this last year. But again, he's sharing the backfield with a very, very good player with the next guy we're going to talk about. So he doesn't have the opportunity to put up monster numbers. So when you look at this, you look at 1,000 yards last year. That doesn't sound that great, but 7.1 yards per carry. So he's doing something very right. Ohio State just balances things out really well. Previous year, even then, almost 6 yards a carry. It's still very good. It's not as good, but it's good. So the guy can play. He just didn't have to take on a full workload. And that is something worth noting, but just understand circumstances are what they are, and you can't fault anything Ohio State did this last year because they were national champions. So TreVeyon Henderson, he's got the top line speed you're looking for. 4.43 is enough to break away. It's enough to get the edge. He's really hard to bring down with one tackler, generally speaking. Not always, but for the most part, I think he breaks through arm tackles well. He's got the hands and the agility to be a really good receiver. I know his receiving stats aren't massive, but they're good. And I think he has the skills to be like a really good route runner. He's going to be one of these guys that can run a really good Texas route or a wheel route. He's going to add value in those areas. Not all running backs can really do that. He's got good lateral cuts. They're clean. They're sudden. They're sharp. They just go ahead and break through, and he's off to the races. He's got good vision. When they run stretch plays with him, you can see his vision. He's formulating where the blocking is going. He's formulating in his head where the ball is going based on where the blocking is. He knows where the defense is going to be. He's got a good understanding of the play development. He doesn't fumble. And one thing that is a big deal here, usually the best running back at pass protection in a draft will be some sixth round Notre Dame guy that runs like a 4.8 40. Not the case this year. TreVeyon Henderson is probably the best pass protection back in this draft, and he's also an excellent all-around running back. So you are getting an excellent third down running back, somebody who can block, somebody who can catch, somebody who can run. He's got so many great things about him. Now, I do think he has a little bit of an issue breaking through thick traffic. Like, he's really good in the open field. He's really good when he has space. He's really good when he has a lot of openings to work with. But when you're talking about him in tight traffic, I don't think he does a great job working through the thicket. I think he's less effective generally near the line of scrimmage. I think the further he gets away from the line of scrimmage, the more effective he is. He's also a little bit on the lighter side, 202 pounds. And, he didn't take on a full workload in college. So I think there is legitimate concern that TreVeyon Henderson is not going to be a full workload running back. I almost put him in the first round regardless, though, because there's so much to like. Third down value, early down value, speed, lateral cuts, vision, so much good stuff. but I couldn't quite do it because I just don't know if he's going to be able to take on a full workload. I don't know if he's going to be a guy you can give 300 carries. Now, that may not be the end of the world because in the modern NFL, teams are not really using bell cow backs anymore, but I think that separates him from a guy like Jean-T or Hampton. So I'll go early second round. I think early second round's about right. I still really like him, and I still think he's going to be really good. I still think that minimum he's going to be an excellent third down back, but I think he's clearly going to be more than that. I think he's very clearly going to be somebody that you can use on stretch plays, somebody that you can use in like a Shanahan offense with the one cut and go stuff. I think he's clearly going to be a really good all-around back on top of it all. All right, so that was one Ohio State back. If you pay attention to college football or the draft, you already know who this next guy is. It is Quinshon Judkins. 21 years old, a little bit bigger than Henderson, 221. Actually, a lot bigger, if we're being real here, in football terms. 6 feet tall, so he's a bigger back. Tested well, very explosive. 11-foot broad is insane for a running back. 1.51 10-yard split's excellent. Speed is good too, sub 4.5. Big boards, second round mostly. Walter has him in the first, CBS has him in the third. Aggregate puts him in the second. Somewhat similar production to Henderson over the last couple years in bulk. 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards rushing, decent receiving stats. The main difference is that Henderson was much more efficient. Like over the last 2 years, Judkins is averaging less than 5 yards a carry, and Henderson's well above that. So there is a difference in efficiency, and I think that there is a stylistic difference in the way the two play that shows up pretty clearly on the tape and in the stats. Has a decent amount of elusivity, or that's not a word, is it? Elusiveness in the open field for a bigger guy. I think it's workable. He knows how to follow his blockers to the promised land. He knows how to be patient, wait for the play to develop, and then go to where the hole is when it opens up, not too early. He's got the strength and the size to bully tacklers. He's definitely going to bust through arm tackles. He's going to be the guy who falls forward and picks up short yardage. He jumps up to top speed in a hurry. His acceleration's very good. He's good, although I would say not great in pass protection. And just generally speaking, in short yardage situations, he's pretty money. You give him the ball on 3rd and 1, he understands the assignment, and he just hammers forward to make sure he gets that yard. So he is kind of the hammer to the lightning that was TreVeyon Henderson in a way, while also being capable of some lightning elements himself. Now, he is somebody who will kind of play into contact more than you would like. He is somebody that will just kind of throw himself into the pile. He is somebody who will throw himself into tacklers because he thinks he can run them over rather than trying to maybe look for a different avenue to go. So he's not creative. He has good top end speed, but it's not great. So him getting the edge and turning long carries into house calls is a little bit more limited. He's not a great receiver. He does have some okay receiving production, but he's not very skilled at catching passes. And he costs himself yards by dancing in the backfield on some occasions. Again, I think he's good in short yardage, but in more neutral situations, I think he does dance a little too long. He needs to commit and go sometimes. Not a huge issue. And that's pretty much Quinshon Judkins, the long and short of him. I think he'll be a really good complementary back in the NFL. I think that he needs to be paired with the right kind of running back. You need to find a more of a home run threat. You need to find a better third down back. I think that Judkins' value is very limited on third down. I don't think he'll ever be a very good receiver. So I don't think he'll be a bell cow, but are bell cows even a thing anymore in the NFL? I don't know. So I'm not too worried about that element of it. I'm just thinking about how can I get this guy to fit into an offense? And I think it's pretty clear how he fits into an offense. He is a good power back. He is someone that can act as a little bit of a hammer. So late second round, I would have gone third round, but the testing caught my attention and makes me wonder if there's more here than I initially thought. I still don't like him as much as Henderson. I still don't like him quite as much as the aggregate. but I think there might be something there. It's worth a slightly higher grade, so I'll go late second round. And that's it for the projected second round running backs. Do another video in a couple hours. We'll take a look at the third round. So everyone buckle in, and we've got more running backs to look at. And again, I understand that people are saying out there right now, the Seahawks don't need a running back. Well, they're going to need a running back eventually. And when that day comes, maybe it's better that we address the need now rather than waiting a year and trying to find that running back in a lesser class. Something to think about. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Almost to the weekend. Everyone have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.